Hey, what's going on, everybody? Michael with the Real 1%. Thanks, everybody, for joining us back today with another episode of Military to Civilian, the last assault. That's what I'm calling this. You know what I'm saying? Because it is, man. It's like the last mission that no one ever planned. Sometimes it doesn't even, they're not even planning for this assault, man. We're planning for everything else. I'm sure you got your own stories, but let's go ahead and introduce our special guest today. My boy Josh, man. How you doing today? Thanks for joining in.
I am doing well, Mike. Great to meet you. Right, great to be on here today. Thank you for your own story. Right, learning about the battles we all face.
Yes, sir.
Right? It is an assault, and the assault never ends. Right, I think that's the hard part. It's not like you take the objective and you stand on it and plant your flag and your flag and it's done. It's ongoing, right, and the assault never ends.
So, yeah, you just gotta keep moving forward, man. Like you're in damn quicksand. You can't stop and you can't stay. You got to keep moving, man, because it's just going to keep going, man. The battle never stops. So if you don't mind, we're going to dive on into it. Go ahead and let everyone know, a little bit of your background if you want, what made you join the military, what branch of service did you join, and then touch on a couple things if you want, like things you did in the service, and then lead us up to that point where you started thinking about getting out or whatever that looked like, because we all know we all got a different story. You never know I don't know what yours is, and I can't wait to hear it, man.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. So Marine Corps veteran, I did 11 and a half years on active duty. Honestly, when I was in high school, didn't know what I wanted to do. Had to find a way to pay for college, right? So like many people looked into the military. And my principal's son at the time actually went to West Point, and he came back and did the whole high school tour recruiting show. Well, that's cool. I'll look into West Point. I didn't know what it meant. And my best mentor growing up was a Marine Corps veteran in the Gulf War. And he told me I wasn't allowed to go to West Point. I had to go to the Marines Academy. And I said, I don't know what the hell that is. So he told me about Annapolis. I looked into it, right, as a upcoming senior, and I was like, shit. So I ran through and I applied, and by God's grace, I got in, and I got accepted. Nice. So got to go to the Naval Academy, 2001, graduated 2005, and then commissioned Marine Corps. Right, I think when I started, I knew I was probably going Marine Corps. And after seeing the people that were there, I was definitely drawn to the Marine Corps. I had some great senior enlisted, gunnies that were mentors and advisors that truly respected the Marine Corps mission. So off I went, right? Got a commission as an aviator, went through flight school, flew Aviate Harriers, didn't pledge the fraternity very well, right? Which kind of leads to my getting out later on, where, I'm a free thinker, right? I'm an independent, I'm a creative, and my arrogance didn't let me tolerate some of the fraternity isms of aviation. Okay. So I got asked to find another job. Went ground logistics after deploying with NATO, doing strategic logistics and air planning. Loved it. So I got my first choice. Went ground logistics with infantry. Loved it. Right, loved being an S4. Had some toxic bosses there. Again, go look up Hawthorne, Nevada mortar mishap in 2013, and you'll see the unit I was with when that happened. And I was the guy on the staff that told the CEO he was full of shit before it went boom and blew up. And then he decided to try to pin it on me and not take responsibility for his own failures. So after that, deployed with SOCOM doing human intelligence as a task force XO, and then came back as a division planner, fought like hell to become a major. And the Marine Corps said, no, we don't want that. We're getting smaller. And like I was sharing earlier, I think the innovator and the turd look the same at a promotion board.
Yeah.
And they said, thanks for your time. Go ahead and you need to get out. And
that's unreal. What the timeline look like on that?
About an 18-month warning. I mean, you get your first pass, you're going to get a second look, but 6 months after your second look, you're out. And
what'd you start doing when did you know? Well, it seemed like you had the insight or the foresight on that. What did you do the 18 months out? Did you start planning your escape?
No, I think I doubled down on trying to get promoted. I'll be honest.
Really? Okay.
My plan was I want to retire, and everyone told me, you'll get picked up the second look, and I had letters of recommendation, and I had all these things kind of lined up to try to fight, to get a second look and to get promoted, on the second time around. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have this, combat plan of you're going to get out and this is how you do it. I mean, I started looking at your headhunters, Bradley Morris and Lucas Group and Cameron Brooks and other companies that were out there. And some just told me, hey, I don't want to work with you. Like Cameron Brooks is supposed to be this, academy grad, high-end company. They're like, you got passed over once, or you got a bad fit rep. Nope, we're not going to work with you. You don't look perfect to us either. So, I started researching a few things. Thankfully someone told me about Lean Six Sigma. So I got that certification, paid for by the Marine Corps. And then Bradley Morris actually told me about PMP. So I was like, I don't know what the hell that is. So I started looking into that. And, once I learned about it, I actually talked back to the colonel and said, hey, sir, I think this would make us better logisticians. So why don't we bring this back to the command? And we did, right? We brought training back to the command, used unit funding to pay for it. And thankfully I had that, right? Thankfully I had industry credibility when I left. I started working with another headhunter that did well in that they got me a job, but I call it the modern day slave trade. Now it's going to piss some people off to hear that.
Nah, man, they need to wake up. They need to wake up.
Yeah, the veteran staffing market, to me, there's great companies out there. I got some friends that work in it, and there's some not so good companies out there that just sell veterans, and they want to make money on you. And
they're getting tax breaks for hiring veterans. People aren't looking always out for the veterans' best interest. They're getting incentivized for hiring veterans, right?
Correct. And the companies that place them make money by placing them. Now there's a service. Everyone can get paid for the work they do. But I got told, hey, the more willing you are to relocate, the more marketable you are. And what I realized is the more you are willing to relocate, the more places they can sell you to, right? And it makes you more sellable, right? It doesn't make you more marketable. It makes you more sellable. And there's a fine line between that, but I got sold, right? And, I worked at a company in construction, loved the job, loved the work of project management, but I was getting paid like shit, and I went on one of my first major projects as a nuclear power plant maintenance project. And I saw that the customer was talking to me and not my boss. And I asked him why. And they go, well, you're a PMP. We're a PMP. And I said, really? Like, why does that matter? He's like, it's about doctrine, really. Like, we use the same doctrine. We plan the same way. We use the same language. And I kind of started perking my ears up a little bit. And I asked him, could I work for them? And he said, yeah, you're qualified. You meet the experience requirement. I was like, really? Like, I felt like a newborn, right? I felt like this kid right out of high school again in a new job. And I'm starting from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Yet they saw me as a professional. And I was like, wait a second. Like, what would I make if I worked for you and it was double my salary? And I went, holy shit. Like, I'm worth a lot more than I thought I was, but I still didn't know how to get the job, right? I didn't really know how to apply. I felt guilty if I left. I mean, there was so much emotional baggage, I think, for me from the military that I'm still processing. I'm still getting over some of that crap that, I felt like a failure again. Like, if I quit this job and move on, it means I failed twice. I failed as a Marine and now I'm failing as a civilian and I can't hack it. You can't make it. All the negative eating words that come at you, that grind you down, right? And I think for a lot of veterans, when we leave this family of the military, we don't know what we are anymore, right? And we're missing some of that comfort, some of that validation, some of the purpose that makes us feel like we belong. And we're trying to fill that void, right? We're trying to fill, I think, an emotional void, sometimes chasing after the wrong things, right? And my faith came back. Look, you have value because God made you who you are. And that's it, right? And you can't look to something else. You can't look outside of yourself to find that value, or you become a prisoner to it, right? You become a slave to that external thing, and you make wrong sacrifices, right? You sacrifice family, you sacrifice friends, you sacrifice comfort sometimes to chase the wrong things. So it's been a battle, right? I left active duty 7 years ago now, right? And it still feels like yesterday sometimes. It still feels like I was just in a uniform. So
yeah, where did you? I want to rewind a couple of things. I want a quick, real rapid fire question. Where did you deploy to? TQ?
No, I was in Kabul the first time, and I was out of Bagram the second time. But we had teams. We had 4th Battalion teams all over, right?
Oh yeah, I was at Leatherneck in Afghanistan. That was a Marine FOB, big Marine FOB, but it's RC Southwest. Yeah, Helmand Province.
Yep, did a lot of work sending people down there. My first deployment, we ran the SALT program, the Special Afghan Leave Travel Program, is what I ran for NATO when I was there. So I did a lot of work with Bastion down that way. Yeah. Second deployment, we had teams in Jabad, Kandahar, Herat, Mazar Sharif, and then one actually in Kabul. So got to travel all over the country a little bit for that deployment, playing funny games.
Yeah.
Not a lot of details, but it was fun.
Man, I know you miss Kandahar and that nice pond they got for you there.
I felt like a dirty man going around like the boardwalk, and everyone's like, why is this here, right? I mean, people hanging around green beans. Like, if you have time to hang out on the boardwalk and play volleyball every day, why are you even in this country? It just felt like it didn't belong.
That thing lasted a long time over there. That boardwalk, man, it was there for the long haul, man. TGI Fridays and all, man. So.
I ate there just to say I ate at TGI Fridays in the middle.
You have to, man. You have to if you have the time. Everyone's going there. You got to. Come on, man. That's a classic, dude. But so what helped you try like pretty much find your identity, when you were going through it, like your transition out? Well, first, actually pause that real quick. I want to ask you about your disability, man, because we hadn't really touched on that. Did you have a disability claim and everything like that before you got out?
Not before I got out, no. I mean, thankfully, so I worked in the division staff, and the division surgeon worked for me, right? Technically is the G4. And someone said, go talk to the division surgeon. So I did. And she's like, hey, you need to go see, it was Lieutenant Varney at the time, or one of the docs. And like, go start at your toes and go to your head and bitch about everything, right? Like, just if it had ever
they just told you this off when you not reported into it, but you went to go see the Sarge, and they said, hey, this is what you about to go do, sir.
Yep. Once I got passed over, and my colonel had the wherewithal to say, you need to go talk to the surgeon and ask them how to set yourself up for success, right? And so she did, right? She was an amazing lady, and she's like, look, you need to go talk to the doc and start at your toes and go to your head. Now, even then, it was hard to be like, it didn't hurt that bad. I mean, I still didn't do it right. I still didn't really claim everything, but at least I had it in the medical record. I tried to do the before service claims, but I couldn't lock in 90 days and guarantee that it'd be available, right? The VA is like, you need to have 90 days where you have no dates, you're not free. And I was like, I'm going to job interviews, I'm working with it. Like, I couldn't commit to that. So I did not file my claim before I left, right? I filed it about 6 months to a year after I left active duty. I finally found a VSO. I was in Philly. I went to the Delaware Regional VA Hospital and said, hey, look, I need to talk to somebody. And they had different banners about the VSOs that they worked with. So I found the Purple Heart, finally got a hold of someone and said, can you help me? And they helped a lot, right? I don't think they work as a VSO anymore, the Purple Heart, but the lady was great. She's like, hey, here's a, power of attorney, send me all your information. She helped fill out the paperwork, helped guide me through it all. And I went through it and I ended up getting 90%, the first time around.
Not bad.
I was like, I hope for 30. It took me 5 more years. I'm at 100 now.
Good for you.
But my back quit a couple of years ago. I bent down. I couldn't stand back up again. And I was like, I'm 38 years old at the time. My back just stopped. And so it took me a while to figure out, because I didn't claim that on active duty. I didn't have back injury in my medical record, even though I was a TAC air pilot, right? Pulling high Gs. I did some studies on G impact to, back injuries. And I was working with infantry. So I was like, look, I think there's a story here. There's a logical connection to my military.
Yeah, for sure. But
finding someone that could help me write that narrative, right? Finding someone that could connect it. I didn't have need a nexus letter. I was able to do as a secondary claim. And it was actually the physical therapist on my shoulder. I have a separated shoulder. It was like, look, your neck and your back are jacked up because of your shoulder and your hips. And I was like, oh, okay. So that kind of gave me the idea of, this is how I can connect these stories to go back in. I actually worked with United Veterans or Veterans United. A friend of mine said, hey, check them out. Like, they charge a fee, right? You get percentage of your increase, but there was nothing to work with them up front. And they went back through and helped me reopen all the investigations, said, you need to apply for all these new claims, and kind of coached me through that process. And I was finally able to get back to the 100%. But it took about 5 years. It took me 3 different attempts working with different companies, trying again and again, reevaluations. I mean, it took a lot of time to get that done. So, but I finally got there, right? 5 years later, like you, 5 years later, I finally
5 years, man. That's what it's
finally got there.
Like, we did it in like increment. Like, you got 9, man. It's nothing better than like hearing like one of our buddies, he did intent to file, and he got 100% first time go, almost like you got the 90. And like, damn, man, that's amazing, man. Like, great, good for you, because like, you don't want no one to go through that heartache. Yeah, does it take time? Sure. Does it take money sometimes? Yeah, I use a third party too. As some people say, oh, how dare you, or how dare. Well, sometimes you're not going to get all the other things that you may need, or you know what I mean. There's many, as everyone loves to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So if I got to pay $2,500 to get like extra $500 that a month for the rest of your life, you know what I mean? That's it's going to pay for itself in such a small time. It's minute.
Yeah, I would say don't pay up front though, right? Find a service that says you win.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Only if you get an increase, then that way you get them, that they get the money or something like that. But yeah, but
And the thing I didn't know is this is one of the ankle biters, right? Because I was involuntarily separated, right? We got a severance check, for getting kicked out.
You pay it back when you got the disability.
Yep. I didn't see a disability check for 2 years after I got my claim done because I had to pay back every dollar of that.
And then they garnish like the full amount. I heard too. Like they don't give you no payment plan. Like they probably take the whole thing. Because I heard a couple other people tell me the same thing, man.
Yep, they garnished the whole thing. So I did not see a disability payment for over 2 years after I got my rating done.
Wow.
So that took a while. I was actually serving as a reservist still for a couple of years. Still didn't make major, and everyone's still like, "Why the hell aren't you making major?" And I'm like, I mean, whatever. But then I got back paid because you can't make a VA claim and reserve pay.
Right.
So after I finally got my VA disability, then the VA came and took money back because I was getting paid as a reservist. So some lessons learned about.
Yeah, on the days that you had drills, so they're going to go back and prorate the money that they gave you. Yeah, Then you're never going to get over, man, on the VA. Like, I remember this is a funny one. Back in the early 2000, like 2000, I don't know, 7, 8, or 9, or 10, they had the GI Bill had this thing. It was the Montgomery GI Bill. You can get like a $1,200 advance, and like I took it, and other people took it. We thought maybe it was $1,300. We thought we like skated off, man. Like we got some free money or something like that. Man, they came taking $130 or something like that out of your check every month and got all that money back. So don't try to get over on the VA if you get, if they're paying you for drill and then you're getting a disability, because they're just probably going to come back and get your money back if they're going to find the mistake.
They'll find it. And, again, if there's goods out there, there's a lot of great resources, but, just like training, I mean, we're working training now. I say, do your homework, right? Know what you're signing up for, know who you're going with, know what you're getting out of it, and don't just go in blind because someone said, oh, they're great, right? There are snake oil salesmen out there. There are crap companies that are out there. There are great companies. There's some great VSOs that you could get for free.
Yeah.
Right? That'll help you out and do a great claim. There are others that don't, right? I mean, some of the VA reps I work with on the GI Bill or VR&E counselors, I've had people walk in going like they didn't want to help me at all. And I've had some say they're absolutely fantastic. So there is no applies to everyone standard. Just do your homework, right? And know what you're willing to sign up for and know what you're getting into. But
no, you're right. What would if you had to give a pep talk or almost like a safety brief of getting out the military? What would you want to tell someone, or what's the things that you wish you would have known all intertwined together before you got out of service and just minus your quick stop and say, hey, see you later type of deal?
Yeah. One, start early. So, 3 categories: emotionally, professionally, financially, right? Emotionally, realize that you're about to feel like a foreign orphan and stop living at home, and you now have to decide for yourself, right? So get ready for it. You're not going to feel the same. You're not going to feel like you belong, and it's going to take a while to figure out your identity. So start exploring who you are before you get out. 2, look into industry certifications because there's great educational benefits like Coast Guard CA, Army CA, Air Force, cool, right? Unit funding to pay for you to upskill before the firefight, right? You're the weapon, your resume is the bullet. Don't wait until rounds are going down range to realize you're carrying a 22 and one at a 308, right?
Yeah.
Build your weapon early. And then lastly, finance and disability, right? Save up 3 to 6 months now, right? Have 3 to 6 months of bills saved up. So in transition, you don't take the first job because you're starving or going bankrupt if you don't. Okay. Second thing is get life insurance first, right? I've had friends, they got 100% permanent total, sleep apnea, PTSD. Then they tried to apply for life insurance and got told they're not insurable. They're too high risk, right? So look into term life and whole life before your disability claims. Before you even go to the doc to claim all the gripe, moans, and complaints, look into term life and whole life or universal life or something like that. Get them set before your disability claim. Then work like hell to get your VA disability done, right? If you do them out of order, you get screwed. If you do them in order, you're set for both, right? So those are kind of the 3 things, right? Emotionally, professionally, financially. You've got to set that foundation, figure out who you are, where you're going, upskill your weapon now, save some money, and get insurance, and then VA. So there's my quick pitch.
No, absolutely good. All great topics and points that you need to pay attention to when you get out, because it's going to go fast too. I mean, you got a year or 2 years, man, that goes by pretty fast. You might even, go on deployment or a rotation somewhere still and come back, and you might only have a few weeks or a few months, and it just be prepared, know what you have. Did you ever use anything like the VA loan or anything like that in your time?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I've used the VA loan, still using the VA loan. I mean, the VA loan is amazing to get a house. We rent out the house I had down at Cherry Point. Now it's a great, kind of nest egg a little bit. Right now it's growing. Um, of course, didn't realize, you have the zero down, which is great until you want to sell a house, and then there's fees to sell a house. And if you haven't gained enough equity, paid down enough, you might take money to closing, right? So blessing in disguise, that happened to us. We bought the house. I think after 10 years, we only paid down like 10 grand on it because it had how amortization schedules work. So we rented it, right? But now it's been rented for 7 years. It's an income, we have cash flow from it now and continues to pay off and still a growing asset. So definitely recommend using the VA loan. You can use it more than once and you can have more than one house at one time, right? So I use the VA loan for my current house here in Virginia. So there's goods about the VA loan that people don't think about. You can have more than one loan at the same time up to a certain limit and threshold. So, hit me up if you want to talk about that, offline. I'd be glad to educate, but I think real estate is a great, investment asset to have in the long run.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the VA loan's good, and I use it to get my second house and did the same thing like you. Try to I'm renting my first house out, and just look at it over time. Look at all, like the last 15 to 20 years, like real estate just keeps going up. So it's kind of like a long play, but it's pretty safe. Everyone's going to need a place to live, and as long as you're not charging like $8,000 and try to be unaffordable, I mean, in this day and age, people are still paying to live if you have places in the right area. And you go back.
I don't want to buy. I mean, interest rates right now are really high for loans. I mean, the VA is still good, at least paying mortgage insurance, but try to stay within BAH. I mean, our house, we try to price it within, I think, Captain BAH or, Lieutenant's BAH. So we can still serve, right? The rental company told us we could charge more. And I said, I'm not going to, because I'm not going to hurt the veterans we're renting to. Like, just because I can make more money doesn't mean I'm going to charge more money. And we did the same thing at PM Pro Learn, with our certifications, right? We could charge double what we do like other companies for our, project manager certs, but we charge half. Why? So we can serve the soldier, right? We can serve our veterans better and let them use their benefits to get more out of it rather than just to make me rich, right? It's not about the money. It's about serving.
How'd you get into can you talk about the PM Pro Learn and like what you got on the table now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an accidental entrepreneur, by God's grace. I think, he laid out this journey and this path. Kind of my failure on active duty let me be where I am now to keep helping people. So my friend, Tim Dahlhaus, we went to church together in the praise team together on active duty. He eventually got into teaching project management, and he and I connected when I was still active, about to get out. I hired him to come down and teach my unit, project management. So he got me certified. He was my instructor. And then a couple of years later, he said, look, I want to build a company called PM Pro Learn. Do you want to help me out? I said, I don't know jack and shit about sales, but I believe in the mission, right? I believe in this purpose of trying to help veterans get into project management. And so we started, right? It was like June 2017. We hit the ground trying to get the word out, grow the network, help veterans understand what it was, what project management is, why it's a great field for veterans. And little by little, it kept growing. I was working as a acquisitions consultant for 5 years while doing PM Pro in the evenings. And then now it's big enough that I do it full time. I mean, so, we teach PMP, so project manager professional, agile certified practitioner. Some people think of Scrum Master or, SAFE for different certs, but ACP is the one funded by the Army funding programs. So we teach ACP and then we teach Lean Six Sigma, right? And I got all three. Or I got Lean Six and PMP, like I said, on active duty. I used them in every industry since. I've seen the impact in my own life. And now our students are leaving. We had a Green Beret staff sergeant, got PMP and Agile, and he's now an IT project manager for Lockheed Martin, making $165 a year. I mean, so, industry certs really do matter. But industry training and project management made me a more effective leader on active duty, right? It wasn't about becoming a better civilian. It made me better while I was in. I used them every day I was in, and in transition in the interview, it's like, I have been a professional for 10 years. I've done all of these projects. This is my past performance. This is where I've done it. This is where I've had an impact. And it changes the narrative in the interview when you have been certified for years, right? So that's our vision, right? Called building soldier lethality and creating job credibility, right? We want to enhance the way we lead now in uniform and create a better life when people get out.
So what's as far as the PMP goes, I mean, I took a class in school on that too. And it seems like you're right. you're already doing these projects. So you just talk, it's just different lingo. It's your benchmarks or what's the KPLs or KPIs or all that stuff. But you're right. I mean, veterans are probably good at that, and I know, like you just mentioned too, that you can get the PMP before you get out and get it covered, while you're in. Or if someone wants to get in contact with you and work with you guys, what would be the best way to do that? And can you give the listeners or people that might be wanting to get a hold of you what the course would look like? Is it online? Is it in person? What does that look like?
No, I appreciate that. I mean, so the easiest way is to go to our website, right? www.pm-prolearn.com, right? It's in my tagline on my name. Just put a www and a .com at the end. Hit me up, find me on LinkedIn. Jay Atkinson at pm-prolearn.com is my email. Shoot me a note, right? But classes we build by demand. We have a bunch of stuff scheduled. So it's either a 5-day class for PMP, Monday to Friday, either live virtual through Zoom or in person. We have evening classes right now. They go Tuesday, Thursday. We're trying to nest this into the formal learning centers, right? Captain's Career Course, 1 Officer Advanced, 1 Officer Basic, right? Sergeant Major Academy, CGSC, ILE. Like, we want to get this out there as an elective, but we also build it by group, right? So if we get 8 or more people, we build virtual training. I have classes in Kuwait right now. We have classes out of Honduras. We have classes in Korea and all over Europe, right? Because groups got together and said, hey, we want to do this as PME and Army CA, right? The credentialing assistance funding, $4,000 every year with no ADSO pays for it, right? For the Army side. So it's join what's there or ask us to build something, right? And it's 2 certs per year. I said PMP and Lean or PMP and Agile. Lean and Agile, right? Pick 2 any fiscal year. And our training is unique in that, 1, they're all veterans. Except everyone but 1 is a veteran on our instructor staff. And we include the test fee, right? So it has everything you need up front with no risk of payback for the military. So, again, and you're doing it. Every mission I ever planned, every logistics scenario, every field exercise, every deployment, right, was a project. I didn't know it was called a project until I got certified. And I was like, wow, like, this is MDMP. This is PP on steroids, because as a civilian, there's a dollar figure tied to my contract, right? I don't just get to build a plan and then, like, no plan survives first contact, like, wing it after that. That's not how civilian world works, right? I mean, you've been on the civilian side.
Yeah.
Contract obligations that you're held to. So we have to care about, quality, efficiency, customer satisfaction, and some other requirements that, when applied to military, you might not think it applies, but you've worked in food service, right? If I'm over consuming resources like MREs faster than I planned on, that means at some point someone's going to starve, right? So that's called profit and loss, right? If I cannot manage logistics as the original plan called for it, then that equals to loss. And as a civilian, the only difference is there's a dollar figure tied to that called profitability. Right. So by learning industry methods, I became more effective now. Right. And then again, in transition, I can speak that language. I have the patch, the tab, right, that I get to keep wearing on the outside. Right. Ranger tab, Sapper tab, jump wings, Green Beret. Nobody cares. Right. Like, let's be honest. Nobody cares what you did in high school. Right. And nobody cares when you leave the military. Right. Industry certifications, you keep wearing. Those matter, right? Speaking the language, having the credibility, relating in terms and examples that a civilian's going to understand. That matters. Saying I went to jump school and I'm a ranger, they'll be like, that's cool. I got a janitor position over here because you're a really motivated, hard worker. Go clean porta shitters, right? Like,
or like government contract escort or hired gun or something like that. Yeah, I mean, it is. Like, yeah, you gotta have, like you said, security plus, network plus, stuff that can transfer into the next realm that you're more likely going to get into as the next step in your career. Maybe you're going to do a business, but you might not be doing a business as soon as you get out. You gotta be ready for that. So
right, you got to know your requirements. That's one thing I've learned too. Is we often talk to solutions, and this is a class. Be glad to do any mentor call. Hit me up, anybody. On defining your life's requirements. Right. I think it's human nature to talk in solutions. A job title is a solution to meet a need, right? An emotional, professional, or financial need, kind of back to those topics, right? So I want that job so I can make enough money to provide for my family, to feel fulfilled emotionally, right? To meet a professional goal of growth or something like that. I'm going to get a job. Well, the job title itself is a solution, but do you even know your requirements? Do I really know what I need or want in life? Do I want, variety of work? Do I want autonomy? Do I even want authority anymore? Right. I heard a great story about a colonel who left 30 years in DC to the program manager job in DC in the defense industry, right? That's the next promotion he was supposed to take. And after about 6 months, he realized, like, I'm just tired of working. I'm tired of being responsible. I'm tired of having the buck stop with me. He became a trucker. He became an over-the-road long-haul trucker. And he is happy as crap right now. Loves it.
He's solo, man. He's solo.
He
He's got no one blowing his phone up at all time of the day. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that comes with rank in the military, man. You know how it goes. It's just like, damn, sometimes you just can't turn it off. In the civilian world, you can and you should be able to do that. But I think it goes back to like what you're saying. A lot of people don't really think for themselves, unfortunately.
They don't. You're not free to. I mean, when you said the phrase, when you live in my house, you're going to follow my rules, right?
Absolutely, unless you like you said, like you think about it, then it's like look like you're trying to go against the grain. You're not really going against the grain, but you're going to voice your opinion. You're going to say what's on your mind instead of just sit there and twiddle your thumbs and suck on a blow pop or something like that, and not say nothing. So,
So it's just different. I mean, that's where learning what you really want to be doing, and then hunting the right solution. Talk to people. Let them describe what that job title is called. Hey, I want a job that looks, tastes, smells, feels like this.
Right.
Talk to a veteran that's there. I call it hunting on LinkedIn, right? I'll do a full demo later. But like, how do you find a veteran that works there already and can tell you about the life? What's it going to feel like? What's the hiring process like? What's the salary going to look like? What am I going to be doing every day? Do I even want that? So before I try to get a blind date, right, the first interview, make sure you want a relationship, right? Make sure you want to be there and that it matches who you are, your personality, your goals, your life events, locations, I mean, all that stuff. And if it does, go after it with, reckless abandon, right? I mean, hunt that hard, pursue it, chase it, target it, right? To use, human intelligence stuff, like target that goal, build your messaging campaign, right? Build the influence operation to go make sure that you're the best value solution to that company's needs, but make sure you want it, right? Don't just keep trying to get a blind date. Don't apply to a job without networking. It's a waste of time, right? And so many vets do that. They get a job and they're like, oh, I don't like it. Well, it's because you didn't know how to ask the right questions before you took the job. You didn't take time to explore who you were or your individual needs or individual identity, right? You just thought that this solution is going to make me happy because we don't know, right? Back to the beginning. We don't know emotionally what we really want to be doing. So we just try it and then it sucks. You're like, now I'm not happy anymore. What do I do about it?
Man, I tried so many jobs when I first got out, man, between getting paid like crap and just like working your ass off and working my ass off. I'm like, I'm good, man. I finally got to the tipping point of, you know what? Maybe I should use that GI Bill. Why am I not using it? Why am I not getting $2,200 a month for the GI Bill? And then you start getting that going. Then I got transferred to Voc Rehab, and then you're just on in the benefits, and then you're getting the Pell Grant for $800 a month. So that's $3,000 right there, tax free. And if you get your disability going for yourself, say you're 100%. And you got a dependent. So then you got $3,000 from school and you're getting $4,000 from the VA. A little bit better than working at a breakfast place making $12 an hour of people trying to tell you they want to buy you a beer after work but don't want to give you an extra $1 an hour to work. So it's just crazy, man. But it all happens for a reason. And now I just look back and smile and laugh and reminisce about those times, man. But
I mean, my own journey, it sucked. It was painful, right? Still getting over the fact of feeling abandoned or betrayed. I mean, there's still a lot of wounds that come from my own journey. But if I had not walked the road I did, I would not have the passion or the story to tell today to help other people, right? So, I mean, I think a man of faith, like God did it for a reason. It sucked and it hurt and it still hurts at times, but I see that there's a greater purpose behind it so we can help other people, right? And that's why I love the veteran community, right? The dog pile of LinkedIn is fantastic. Be vulnerable. I need help. Somebody out there, do you know an answer to this question? I mean, just the veteran community is so powerful. It's so amazing, but you have to be willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Can somebody help me, right? Listen to podcasts like this. So I hook up with you, right? Follow some influencers. Be careful who you follow too. There's some window licking blowhards out there that just like the sound of their voice, right? I mean, so be cautious who you choose to listen to. Don't be taken advantage of.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a vulnerable state in transition, just like Pinky Time, right? Sunlight and sunset is a vulnerable time as you transition, right? Because you got to let your eyes adjust. You got to let your emotions adjust. So do due diligence, but reach out for help, right? Be willing to ask for help.
No, on that real quick, I just wanted to say something from my own experience was, everyone loves talking about Veterati and 4Block and e-mentor, and all these things are great, right? They have goodness inside of them, but just like everything else, there's evil in that too, man, because you're out here trying to seek help from these so-called mentors, and they try to tell you, okay, you link up with someone and tell you read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, no problem, read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Then they try to start selling you on like mid-level marketing or like, a pyramid scheme type of deal. So like you said, you just got to be cognizant of who you're talking to and who you're taking direction from. Cause I feel like that was kind of messed up, and it sort of disappointed me because I'm like, man, it's a vulnerable population here. People are like trying to reach out. No one already likes asking for help, right? We all don't like doing that for the most part. It's pride or whatever it is, but like, damn, the worst thing they can do is either they can't help you, tell you no, or they're gonna help you or point you in the right direction. Like you were saying about LinkedIn, I've always had success on LinkedIn, looking for jobs, looking for recruiters with companies. If they don't know how that job rec, they're gonna send you to somebody else. Like LinkedIn is powerful for what it's worth. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I'm sort of doing now is like meeting people like you and everybody else, and just sort of building my own network out or trying to form a network that I could be a part of, which is. It's already there. There's thousands of veterans on LinkedIn. There's plenty of people that are doing stuff. So yeah, just put yourself out there. Like network is net worth, as they say. But like I got one of the best jobs because I knew somebody else that I met when I was a soldier, but he was a contractor and we stayed in contact. Stay in contact with people that you meet throughout your time. You never know who could help you out or, point you in the right direction, or, hey, I know this guy. Okay, let me look at his resume and work on your resume and make sure it doesn't have all military jargon in it, that it actually, equates to what you're trying to apply to. And one of the vets I had on here, Mike Perry, he works for Activision, and he was saying that there's some software out there that's AI that helps you generate resume as well. So like you got to sort of be up on these things if you're out in the hunt for the job search, because all these companies are using AI. All people aren't looking at your resume at first; they're having robots look at it. If it doesn't get cut, you're not even going to get looked at for the second cut. So you got to really.
And that's where again I think recruiters are like forward observers, right? They're just told to target certain things. The computer's told to target certain things.
Right.
If you build relationships and you have somebody hand walk or hand deliver that resume to a different person, now you can skip the algorithm, right? You can skip the recruiter completely. And now I'm having a personal call. So I call it like dating, right? Don't talk to a matchmaker. Get a best friend to introduce you to somebody. And like, hey, Mike, I got this great girl over here. Here's who she is. This is what I know about her. Like, I know who you are. I know who they are. I think you'd be a really good fit.
Right.
We'll link you guys up together, right? That's what a job is, right? That hiring manager is a single looking for a date, and they want a good relationship fit to someone that can solve their problems, right? So by networking, by opening that door and having somebody make an introduction, they can suck your resume through the hiring process, right?
Absolutely. I've had it happen to me. I'm grateful for it too, because it got right to the program director, passed right on through the recruiter, not even to exactly, man. That's how it happens.
Yep. It's a people business, right? I mean, business is people, right? Sales is people. Getting a job is people, right? You can fight the systems all you want to, but unlike the military, the recruiter has no authority to actually get you hired. They are just a matchmaker, right? So a lot of veterans target recruiters, and I tell them not to. They're good. They have a job to do, and they're trying to pair people up. But, in the end, they're not the decision maker. They're just a matchmaker screening hot or not profiles called resumes to see who's worth making a connection. And if you don't meet the targeting profile, they just pass you on. So
yeah, you still got to go to the hiring manager and all, depending on where you're going to. It's more than just like you said, more than the recruiter, but. That's funny that you said it like that. They're like looking at Tinder for job connections. Like it's just their ultimate Tinder swipers for job connections for companies.
I've been told like recruiters 2 to 6 seconds. 2 to 6 seconds at the initial look at a resume to see if you meet keywords and parameters, or the software that doesn't even screens you out because of keywords.
Right.
That's it. So if you want to not be stuck in that, don't even know what they're attracted to world, network. Open a door, get a connection from the inside, and it is so much different. So,
where did you end up getting out of the military from? What base?
Camp Lejeune.
How'd that go for you?
I mean, it was like, hey, sign the document and leave. I mean, I knew more than the TAP facilitator, other than like the VA stuff.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah, it was a check in the box. and you walk out and you sign a document. It's like, bye. I mean, there was no farewell. I mean, no end of career award. There was nothing.
I didn't get an award either, but some places you do, like, but I definitely didn't get one either. And at that point, I was like, I don't even, what are you going to give me an AAM? At this point, I guess it doesn't even mean anything because people don't even want to do it. They're just they're going to PT the next day. You're going to whatever you want to do, the beach or whatever you want to go do, the pool. But if you could change something in the ACAP process or like that process of getting out, like what would you add to it, or like what would you kind of focus on that, something maybe it doesn't have to be all year, but what would be some focal points?
I think if I could say anything, networking, right? Building your LinkedIn network and using it, not just adding connections, but being vulnerable and using it, and just stop work, right? At some point, realize that you are a piece of military equipment. And the minute you are gone, they're going to replace you with a newer model, right? Just stop. Like, stop driving until the last day. Stop owing the military your loyalty and start putting your family first, right? Put yourself first. Get your own stuff in order. Tell people no once in a while. No, I can't do that anymore. Wow, you're going to get a bad eval. I'm getting out. I'm leaving. I don't care about the eval anymore. Right. I care about being set up for success. Like, people grind to the end. They're afraid to take off the pack. I was, right. Take off the pack earlier. And I know it's really hard for junior enlisted. Some senior guys still have a hard time taking the pack off. They work to the last day. And then they wonder what happened when they trip out the door because they're still stuck living at home. I mean, it's hard. Like, I get it. I worked almost to the last day. Like, it was painful to admit I'm not going to be able to be here anymore. And I didn't know how to go through that process. So start early, right? Leverage LinkedIn, build networks, be vulnerable, right? I don't know. There's so much I want to do. So give me a call and we'll talk, or send me a note, and I'd love to talk with you. Teach you how to use educational benefits now. You mentioned all the education afterwards. There's different educational benefits in service that don't touch your GI Bill, right? Like,
absolutely.
Cool. Credentialing assistance, Coast Guard CA. Like, there's lots of free monies out there to upskill today. And then when you get out, you can still use GI Bill later if you want to.
Yeah, you could get out with several degrees. You just use you get the PMP, you could get, use it all. I guess that's like, we've all gone through it. And when you're going through it, probably not in the forefront of your mind, but if you want to make the best out of it, you definitely got to take advantage of it. Because, if you don't, it's just gonna sit there and go to waste, I guess. So,
yep.
But hey, what was your favorite place that you got to see when you're in the military? Did you have a favorite place you got to go on orders? You got it. Okay.
Yeah, we got to go do an exercise with the East African Coalition. Flew into Entebbe and got to stay in Jinja and work with a bunch of African countries. That was just a really cool experience. I mean, having tea every day, hearing their stories, right? Seeing the difference in other countries. I mean, I worked with NATO. We had different forces, but we take logistics for granted in the military, right? The fact that we have strat lift and strat, like, I asked guys in Tanzania, hey, how'd you deploy? He's like, we road marched. Took us 30 days to get there. We road marched for 30 days on our feet to deploy. I was like, okay. Like, wow. I mean, just stuff we would never.
No, it's wild, man. I went to Niger in Northwest Africa, and not Nigeria. Everyone's like, Nigeria? I'm like, no, dude, look at the map. There's another country, guys, that, dude, the logistics there were so backed up, man. The port, everything. Like, yeah, you're right. Even getting on the airplane, they don't even, you think, I was like, oh, I have 1B, like, I'm going to sit first class. No, man. Air Niger was one plane, and there was no assigned seats. And they had goats. They had livestock on the plane and everything.
Yep. It's just a different world. And that's why, we take for granted how blessed we truly are in America.
Seriously.
You go somewhere else, we take for granted what logistics really means and the capacity we have to make force generation quickly. I mean, even pays, like, we take for granted how much we make. It says there's a food scarcity problem, and there's a insecurity buying problem. That says live within your means. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, you can't. Afghanistan was great. In its own shittiness.
Yeah.
The mission, the purpose. Being around great people was awesome. But Africa was probably the coolest place I got to see.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. What would be one word to describe your military service? What would you say?
Chaos. No, I mean, I don't know. It's a passion. I think my service was passion. But it was chaos. Like in Afghanistan, we said be fluid because flexible is too rigid, right? So, just constant change, constant chaos, but yet, passion and drive in that chaos to solve problems. I mean, so I love my career. I would have done things differently, but, it was a passion. It was a drive. It was a love to keep serving. And I get to keep doing that now, right? I get to keep being me and find a place to be me that doesn't reject me for being me. And, yeah.
Okay, hey, fair enough. And keep doing you, man. Don't let nobody else stop you either.
Same thing.
Right?
Same
You
thing
can't. You can't, man. We can't get. Hey, we can't get told to get a parade rest no more. So you know what I mean. Like even if they try to pull that rank card that which people love to do in the military, but it's all good, man. What was your favorite MRE?
Ooh.
Or are you just so sick of them that you never even?
Oh, there was a chicken pasta one that was like really good. That was like my favorite. I can't remember what it was called now.
Word on the
story.
Oh yeah.
Story. And chili mac. Honestly, I'm a chili mac fan. Yeah, chili mac with jalapeno cheese.
Everyone must hear the chili mac. Now I've had like 3 or 4 people say that, and I haven't really even asked everybody, but then the majority always say chili mac, and they always get some crazy ass little. I put the little crackers in there, and crumble the crackers up, put the Tabasco in there.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get the MRE cooking channel going, man. I might get that going.
That would be hilarious. That'd be people watching. The gourmet MRE show.
Yeah, man. Just
gourmet MRE.
Make some shit happen out in like a shelter house somewhere. But that nah, man. Did you like the DFACs in Afghanistan where I heard Bagram had a good DFAC because it was so big?
Yeah, I mean the DFACs are pretty good. I hate that you had to get like eggs fried hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Couldn't get them. I like runny eggs, but it's probably for our health. And they had like the surf and turf like every other Friday, or you guys like great F beef that's only good for prisoners and military folks. But I mean, either way, the fact that
people always try to give military cooks a bad rap, bro. You're giving us grade F quality shit lower than Taco Bell, man. Like, give us something to work with, man. Where's the USDA Prime, man, for all these fine service members?
Yep.
But
we all had stories, man. I love just working with people. Multiple countries, great. Veterans are awesome. That's why I wanted to get back into it. I left the military hating, being hurt by the military, thinking I wanted to be valued by being not in the military. And then I came back, right? It's like, the military's part of me, right? It's part of us as veterans. It's part of what I wanted to keep serving. And I came back, right? I helped build a company now to continue to serve vets and make life better. So, it's just me. It's part of me. It's something I'm never going to get rid of.
No, absolutely. Yeah, why would you, man? You met some of the best people probably in your life. You had some of the best times in your life. You got some of probably the most important missions that you could get put on, man. You're doing that at a young age too. So a lot of people, like you said, just you might not feel like you're the same, but you're not. You're never gonna live that stuff again, man. That's once in a lifetime running a class 1 or a mission or Bastion. You're not gonna be able to get a job. No one's gonna put you back out there and do that no more. You know what I mean? Especially in Afghanistan, because there's no one there anymore. And from the US, you could get on if you want to live close to the military life. I guess get in the contracting realm. You can make good money. You can live good. It's probably not the best if you have a family or with kids, because it's pretty much like a glorified deployment, depending on where you are. So, but I mean, that might sometimes there's a lot of military people that do that, but there's a lot of people
there are jobs in the defense industry or the adjacent defense industry that have great quality of life and can do a lot of good things. So
that's true too. So yeah, man. Well, hey, you want to leave it off with anything? I mean, balls in your court if you want to say anything. If not, man,
we wanted to thank you. Thank you to all our veterans that are out there. Thank you for your service, Mike. Thanks for having me on and talking today. Biggest thing, reach out, right? I don't know if I can put my email, I guess, in the comments or nope.
But when I posted a YouTube and get it out, we can put your email.
Put my email in the comments. Comment, right? Reach out, connect, be vulnerable, ask for help. Some of the best posts I've had are, look, I need help with this. I don't know how to do that. Does somebody have an answer to this question? Right? Be specific in your ask, because people want to help you. They just don't know how. So my leave is ask for help, be willing to get it wrong, learn, and just keep at it. Right? There are so many people that want to help you. You are not alone unless you make yourself alone. reach out. Don't do it by yourself. And guys like Mike are fantastic. Thank you for what you're doing. Sharing your own story. We've all had trips and stumbles and falls, but that's life. It's a journey. It never ends. Just keep up, keep taking the next step, and we're here for you.
No, I appreciate that and appreciate you sharing your story and everything that you're doing for veterans. And I hope to, keep in touch with you and hear that you're doing big things and you break in and shatter into getting on the bases and, putting all that PMP stuff into the curriculum, man. That's true, man. Because when you go to these leadership courses, that stuff should be offered if you can knock it out while you're there, especially if like you said, Sergeant Major's Academy, that's all year, I think, or something crazy.
There's so much time.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do what we're trying to do. It's just fighting politics and legacy thought, but I'm going to get what I want, right? We're going to get there. We're going to keep grinding hard and helping people. So,
hey, it seems like there's a lot of veterans that are getting involved in the government too, man. So you never know, man. They might have get a whole bunch of people that are like-minded that start making sense of things and sort of make stuff go in the positive direction. So
we'll make it. Thanks to guys like you that get the word out, allowing me to run my suck for an hour, helping people listen. And I truly appreciate what you're doing, Mike. Thanks.
Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you coming on. And everyone, thanks for listening in. If you guys are veterans, someone that may want to share their story, get them sent over our way. And one more thing I got to ask you, call to action for anyone that you may know that could come on and share their story. That way we can continue to make this positive influence. Who you got?
My COO, Ian Fisher, I think would be a great guy to get on. Matt Tobin, guys I work with, I'll send you a list, but Matt Tobin, Ian, my team, Mike Burgos, Brian Oberg, Justin Griffiths. I mean, all the guys who work at the PM Pro Line are almost all veterans. They've all got a story. They've all got something to tell.
Absolutely, man. Y'all are all on the chopping block, man. Show up. PT formation 0.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Hey, thank you, Josh. Have a blessed
day, everyone.
Thank
See
you.
ya.